stage. First, the challenger from Buenos Aires, Argentina, making his U.S. and Showtime debut, introducing Fernando Puma Martinez. And we invite his opponent, the defending champion, to the stage, already standing to my right, hailing from Lourdes, Tacangan, Bukidnon in the Philippines. His record, 33 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws, 22 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the defending IBF Junior Bantamweight Champion of the world, Jerwin Pretty Boy Ancajas. And our fighters are ready to step onto the scale. The weight limit on this fight is 115 pounds for the IBF Junior Bantamweight Championship of the world. First, here is the challenger. 13-0 is his record. 8 wins coming by way of knockout, making his first attempt at a world title. Here is the undefeated challenger, introducing Fernando Puma Martinez. 114 and 1/2 pounds, 114 and a half pounds for the challenger, Fernando Puma Martinez. And his opponent ready to step onto the scale at this time, the longtime world champion, making his Las Vegas debut. He'll be making the 10th defense of his title. Here's the defending and reigning IBF Junior Bantamweight Champion of the world, Jerwin Pretty Boy Ancajas. 114 and a half pounds, the same weight as his opponent. The champion weighs in at 114 and 1/2 pounds. And there they are, ladies and gentlemen, Jerwin Pretty Boy Ancajas versus Fernando Puma Martinez. 12 rounds for the IBF Junior Bantamweight Championship of the world. It opens up our big night of action here at the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas, live on Showtime. Well, fans, we continue our official weigh-in from the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas. Premier Boxing Champion continues with our co-main event of the evening, WBA Continental Americas Championship at stake. First, we welcome to the stage at this time, fighting out of Los Angeles by way of Ukraine. Here is the former WBC Super Lightweight Champion of the world, Victor Iceman Postol. And his opponent, joining us to the stage at this time, seated and ready to weigh in from Capitol Heights, Maryland. He's the 2016 U.S. Olympian, the undefeated super lightweight contender, and rising star, Gary Antoine Russell. And we're ready to step onto the scale at this time. 10 rounds of boxing. WBA Continental Americas Championship is at stake. First, with a record of 31 wins, 3 losses, he has 12 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the former WBC Super Lightweight Champion of the world, Victor Iceman Postol. 140 and a half pounds, 140 and 1/2 pounds for Victor Postol. And his opponent is making his anticipated Las Vegas debut. The talented southpaw, undefeated at 14 wins, no losses, all 14 wins. Coming by way of knockout, here's Gary Antoine Russell. 139 and 1/2 pounds, 139 and 1/2 pounds for Gary Antoine Russell. And there they are, ladies and gentlemen. It's the co-main event of the evening, brought to you by TGB Promotions and Showtime in a Premier Boxing Champions presentation. Gary Antoine Russell versus Victor Iceman Postal. Co-main event, WBA Continental Americas Championship is at stake. All right, fans, here we go from the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas. Premier Boxing Champions presents the official weigh-in for the featured attraction of the evening, brought to you by TGB Promotions and Showtime. We welcome our fighters to the stage at this time. First, from the Dominican Republic, the former Olympian and undefeated southpaw contender. Please welcome Hector Luis El Droide Garcia. And his opponent from Brooklyn, New York, the WBA #1 ranked super featherweight contender and the rising star of the division. Here is Chris Primetime Colbert. And the fighters are ready to step on to the scale. Super featherweight world championship title eliminator. Weight limit is 130 pounds. And now, ladies and gentlemen, with a record of 14 wins, no losses, 3 no contests, he has 10 wins coming by way of knockout. Moving up in weight, here is the WBA #5 ranked featherweight contender, the undefeated Hector Luis El Droide Garcia. $129.5 pounds, 129.5 pounds for Victor Luis El Droide Garcia. And now, ladies and gentlemen, onto the scale with a record of 16 wins, no losses, 6 wins coming by way of knockout. Here's the crafty and colorful southpaw #1 contender, the undefeated Chris Primetime Colbert. 128.75 pounds, already 128.75 pounds for Chris Primetime Colbert. And there they are, ladies and gentlemen. It's the main event of the evening. Chris Primetime Colbert, Hector Luis Eldrede Garcia. 12 rounds in a battle of southpaws for the WBA Super Featherweight World Title Eliminator. Live on Showtime.
Saturday, February 26th, it all goes.
I don't trust that music. I should have flipped it around. Hey, let's talk about what's going on first. What's going on, guys? How you doing? Happy Friday. It is 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know, I got really sick back in December. And basically, my voice and my breathing hasn't really been the same since. You know, it's been kind of crazy. So I'm chewing on a cough drop. So I put the show notes down below in the description box. So here's what we're going to talk about today in the next 50 minutes. We got a lot to go over. Josh Taylor versus Jack Catterall, weigh-in, face-off recap, full-card preview, predictions. Josh Taylor has been made the WBO Super Champion, which gives him mandatory status to fight Terence Crawford at 147 if he chooses to or to move up. The undercard is going to be Robeisy Ramirez versus Eric Donovan, Nick Campbell versus Jay McFarlane, Ebonie Jones versus, I'm not even going to butcher this girl's name, Paddy Donovan versus Miroslav Serban. The broadcast is going to be on Sky Sports Boxing in the UK. And here in the States over on ESPN Plus. Let me check real quick what time this card is coming on ESPN Plus. So what's up, man? Take your time out. Like the video, subscribe. 2 p.m. tomorrow. Boom. On ESPN Plus. So I got to be honest. I don't know how I feel about this card. For one, I don't know who none of these people are outside of Robeisy Ramirez, but everybody else, I may have seen them fight before. You know, they had this Scottish guy with this war paint on. Here, since we're here, let's go check out the weigh-in, and that's where we're going to start. So here's the show notes. I just read we're going to do Josh Taylor versus Jack Catterall, talk about Lawrence Okolie versus Michael Cieslak, and then, of course, we just watched the weigh-in for Chris Colbert, Hector Garcia. Undercard, Gary Antoine Russell, brother of Gary Russell, another Gary Russells, the brothers Russell, versus Victor Postol. Jerwin Cajas versus Fernando Martinez. That card is going to be starting at 9 p.m. Eastern on Showtime tomorrow night. Dylan Whyte signs his portion of the contract to face Tyson Fury, April the 23rd. Tyson Fury versus Dylan Whyte. Purse bid won by Frank Warren, Queensberry Promotions. They also won the Andre versus Zach Parker purse bid. Crazy. You know, where's Frank Warren getting all his money from? I know where, but that's not my business. Co-promoted by Top Ranking Broadcast on BT Sport Box Office pay-per-view in the UK, and they're doing it on ESPN pay-per-view here in the States. So let me explain. Tyson Fury versus Dylan Whyte, we're going to talk about it more in detail later on in the video, is going to be on ESPN Plus pay-per-view here in the States, a midday pay-per-view. How much they're going to charge us for that? And Dylan Whyte's not known here in the United States, but hey, whatever. What's next for Jamal Charlo and David Benavidez? Jaime Munguia defeated Demetrius Ballard. Apparently, according to some rumors, Munguia and his team are interested in facing Jamal Charlo. Steven Espinoza, head of Showtime Sports, did an interview with Fight Hub saying that Jamal Charlo's next opponent is going to be somebody, you know, that fans are supposed to like. So we're going to make sure we look at that, look at the rankings and try to do a process of elimination. And then we're going to close out the video with Canelo Alvarez versus Dimitri Bivol for the WBA 175-pound title, official for May the 7th, 2022 on the DAZN pay-per-view for $59.99 for subscribers. Canelo is to face Golovkin. Murata winner if Golovkin wins in September. Canelo declined a 2-fight deal to face off against Jamal Charlo and David Benavidez on Showtime pay-per-view. So let's jump right into things. Let's go check out this weigh-in. I did get a chance to watch it earlier, but I wasn't really following it. I was more so watching the press conference for Lawrence Okolie and Michael Cieslak. So honestly, I'm not really giving Jack Catterall too much of a chance. You know, they did choke each other at this at this weigh-in though. The fight is taking place in Scotland, Glasgow. But yeah, I really, by the way, Jack Catterall has been the mandatory for quite some time. Here, let me pull up his resume. They got the babies out, okay. Cracking event. Let's see. Let's pull up the resume here.
Jack Catterall has been a smooth customer all week.
And I've seen Jack Catterall fight a few times, and I believe I may have did live post-fight videos for a few of his fights. The Whyte, the fight week events, ain't really been nothing. I watched the gloves are off. When they sit down at the table with Skinny Jeans, Sky Sports Johnny Nelson. 139 pounds. By the way, this is part of Top Rank's deal with Sky Sports over in the UK to broadcast Top Rank fights in association with boxer Ben Shalom, also on Sky Sports.
He is the undisputed super lightweight champion of the world from Prestapans.
That's what I'm saying. Jack Catterall seems scared. He do seem a little scared. See, I don't really pay too much attention to weigh-in and fight week fisticuffs and back and forth, because especially during the weigh-in, those guys be hungry, man. And I know when I'm hungry, I'm real irritable. You want to fuck something up. But yeah, I'm predicting for Jack Catterall to get a boot put in his ass tomorrow. I'm trying to find a way he gonna win. Unless 26-0 with 13 KOs, but who knows? Maybe he got something we ain't seen before, But ain't nothing on that resume of note. Ain't nothing on that resume of note, like nothing. I mean, yeah, O'Hara Davies, okay, Tyrone McKenna. Those are two quality domestic level fights.
What a way to show off at home with all your belts. He's one of the few fighters that truly believe he is the best of all. And in my opinion, he is the best in the world in his division.
Let's just see what he comes in at on the scales.
Ten stone, 140 pounds. 10 stone, 100.
I mean, he's never had no issue making weight. Oh yeah, they're about to choke each other.
I think he looks
There's about to be some chokes.
yeah, he's huge for the weight. He's big for the weight. Under the eyes of dark. The jaw was very drawn. I think it was drawn. He might be able to make the weight. And I always say I can get you down to 4 stone, but might not be able to tie your shoelaces. He needs to be able to perform at his best, his optimum, at the weight he's at. So
yeah, I'm kind of on this card, But I mean, it is the undisputed champion at 140. And also, I was going through some shit when he fought Jose Ramirez, so I didn't do a video on that fight. So I gotta cover this. But yeah, he's supposed to be mandatory for Crawford if he decides to move up. It's official now, being made WBO super champion this week.
Massive 140 pounder.
There is absolute beef between these.
12 rounds for the undisputed super lightweight championship of the world.
Josh Taylor all week, Matt, has been doing his best to try and get under Jack Catterall's skin. Does he need this animosity? Do you think Josh Taylor can bring out the best in him?
I think Taylor likes.
Josh Taylor.
fire in the belly. You need someone to come back at you in order to get that. So I think he's been trying to prod and poke at Jack Catterall, who hasn't really bit all week, but there was a little bit there. Jack Catterall put his hand on the throat of
Yeah, that's fighting, you know, right there. You can't just go around just, you know, like putting your hand on people's throats. That ain't cool. But yeah, once again, 2 p.m. tomorrow on the Zone. The undercard, I gotta be honest with you, I'm not really, you know, it ain't calling me. It ain't calling me. Now, I ain't got nothing else better to do, you know, so of course I'm going to be here. Let's listen to the interview.
We know how big you are at this weight, 140 pounds, 10 stone, bang on. How do you feel on those scales?
Yeah, I feel good, you know, it's the easiest I've made the weight. John Poppy, my nutritionist, the last 2 times I've did the weight, it's been perfect, bang on, so feel strong as a nut.
What happened at the head-to-head there?
I don't know, they were trying to put his hands on me, but you know what, I nearly get a rise out of him today, I nearly get a reaction, rile him up, and tomorrow he's gone flat on his back.
Before I let you go, just a message to these fans that have come out today.
Look how sucked in his face is. Jeez.
The belts are staying here. Stay here in Scotland. Thank you, everybody. Cheers.
Josh, before I let you go, Marion Palatin, the WBO representative, there's a new belt here for you which commemorates your undisputed win over Jack Catterall. This is a presentation the WBO had asked to make.
Thank you very much. That's absolutely beautiful. Thank you very much.
Best of luck tomorrow.
Yeah, my man is bone dry. Bone dry. Are they going to talk to Jack?
No, so close to the... Definitely not. Listen,
Feeling?
yeah, feeling good now. I can enjoy it myself now, go and refuel in the room, chill out, and look forward to tomorrow.
It got a little bit tasty up there in the face-off. That seems to have been Josh's plan all week. He's tried his best to get under your skin. Is he? Has he?
No, definitely not. Listen, I seen when he climbed up the scales, he was marching over. Nice crowd here. You know what? I had more support here than he did, and it felt good. I fired up now, I'm ready to go.
You've got a good level of support in here. Your fans over there have been trying to do their best to out-drown Josh's fans. What's your game plan tomorrow night? How do you beat someone like Josh Taylor?
I'm not going to give away the game plan now, so close to the fight, but I've certainly worked every aspect of my game to prepare myself for tomorrow night. It's about keeping a cool head in a hot kitchen, going in there and doing what I'm instructed to do.
And we all know, I mean, the hydro, what it's like when it's full, it's absolutely electric, it's jumping. How do you feel walking essentially into the lion's den? Are you going to feed off that? Does it bother you?
You know what, you don't truly know until you're in that situation. I've visualised it many times, and I said it yesterday. I'd be disappointed if I didn't get stuffed throat, booze tomorrow. If Josh were coming to Charlotte, he'd have to expect the same. So I know I'm up against it tomorrow with the crowd, but I've got a good team, and I'm confident I can do it.
It is a step up for you, but a step up that I'm sure you feel absolutely more than ready for. What would it mean to you if you were to win tomorrow?
It would mean the world to me. It's been 17 years since I first put a glove on, and to get all the way to fighting for the undisputed is massive.
Let's go back.
Did you think Josh looked a bit tight at the weight in his eyes, his jaw? Did you think he looked it quite good?
Yeah, I mean, I never read too much into it. Fighters said it about me in the past, well, I felt good. I feel good today. He did look a bit gone, but everybody recovers different. We've got 36 hours now to the fight, so we'll see.
What about yourself? How do you feel? Do you think will you put a lot on now between now and tomorrow night?
I'm hoping to put 12-13 pounds on between now and fight night. The fight was in December for me, so I had to hold back a little.
What about yourself? How do you feel? Do you think will you put a lot on now between now and tomorrow night?
I'm hoping to put 12-13 pounds on between now and fight night. The fight was in December for me, so I had to hold back a little bit and not kill it too soon. But said yesterday, I've been working with nutritionists now for 4 years. I'm getting better every time at doing the weight.
Last one before you go. Did you want that reaction? Did you want that reaction from Josh? You know,
yeah, we expected that. I mean, I've fed him nothing all week. He's quite bamboozled by how I've been so laid back, but we'll give him a little bit today, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, I can see security trying to drag you away.
Yeah, I don't feel like that guy's going to be the next undisputed champion of the world. Like, we're talking about 4 belts here, 5 if you're counting the ring. You see what I'm saying? I just don't think that, you know, I don't see it from Jack Catterall. He's saying he's going to come into the ring, you know, around like 142, 143, 12, 13 pounds or so. I'm interested in what we probably won't know what Josh Taylor's going to come into the ring as, because he looks like he walks around at about 180 or so. Like, that's a big dude. You see what I'm saying? Here's the undercard for those who care before we move on. Robeisy Ramirez taking on Eric Donovan. A Nick Campbell versus a Jay McFarlane. Anybody who cares for this card, please tell me who am I supposed to be looking out for. Educate me, you know, because I'm trying to, you know, like, fine. You know, I am interested in the Ebonie Jones fight. Robeisy Ramirez is, and of course, the main event. But everybody else, I really don't know. You know, I'm guessing this is local Scottish talent that they have on this card. Here's Ebonie Jones. 1-0. Here is Robeisy Ramirez. I was at his fight, the one he lost in Philly. He did avenge it, Aiden Gonzalez, in a 6-round decision. He got dropped early, and it was a 4-round fight. And originally, from my understanding, it was supposed to be a 6-round fight. But yeah, I like him. Hopefully him and Shakur Stevenson meet again one day. But doesn't really seem like it, you know, with the way things are going. Let's go look at the 140-pound division. Josh Taylor, of course, the king. Wait a minute. What's going on here? Remind me. You have Jose Ramirez taking on Jose Pedraza, right? They had a Zoom call a couple of days ago, and I missed it. I don't know what I was doing. I missed it. Where we at? Where's his box rec? Listen, I'm still catching up myself on boxing news. Okay, oh shit. This is next Friday. This is next Friday. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Canelo later on in the video. So you got Jose Ramirez returning to take on Jose Pedraza. Like this fight at 140 with Joel Gonzalez versus Gio Santizima. Ooh, this is kind of seductive. This is going to be Friday night on ESPN Plus. Is that a title eliminator of some sort? And what's Jose Zepeda doing? He's been on a nice little run. So far, it doesn't look like he's got something, because I think he's in training camp. And pretty much when you look at it, Subriel Matias is on his way to being the next IBF mandatory. My bad, I'm just combing through. I'm educating myself at the same time. He's on his way to being the next IBF mandatory. Regis Prograis, we don't know what he's doing. He does have a fight coming up with Tyrone McKenna. He's a Probellum fighter, but we don't know what his what his plan is. Because with Probellum, we haven't seen Probellum work together with Top Rank, despite we're hearing news that Inoue versus Donaire 2 is in the works, and Donaire is a Probellum fighter, and Inoue is a Top Rank fighter. But yeah, you know, for Josh Taylor, you know, like, what real reason is he staying in the division for? What money fight or legacy fight is in the 140-pound division for him? You know, in my opinion, he should just move up. You know, I think that's where he should go with that. But anyway, moving on. We ain't more talking about that. I'm going to be here covering that fight tomorrow afternoon. Remember, tomorrow we have a pretty busy day in boxing overall. Let me pull up the boxing schedule from Dan Rayfield. So I'm going to be here by the time the first fight start, and I believe Rigondeaux has a fight. I mean, Rigondeaux's fight tomorrow is in the morning in Dubai. You know, I'm not exactly sure the time. I got to find it. So let me tell you what's going on tomorrow. And I'm watching a card right now on YouTube where Kanat Islam is supposed to be fighting, and he's a 160-pound contender. But let me stay on topic. Let me not get too sidetracked. Let me tell you what's going on tomorrow before we move on to the other boxing topics. So I'm going to be here, because this is the fight card I'm watching right now. Dobson and Borrego, they're in the ring. The main event is up next. I want to see this fight. So hopefully the stream will be over before then. So this is on ESPN Plus tomorrow, the card we just talked about, Taylor versus Catterall. On Showtime tomorrow night, this is the next topic we're going to talk about. Chris Colbert versus Hector Garcia, Gary Antoine Russell versus Victor Postol, German and Cajas versus Fernando Martinez. That's going to be on Showtime tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. I don't think Taylor versus Pro Grade 2 is a fight. Oh shit, what up, Donnell? I don't think Taylor Pro Grade 2 is a fight that's going to keep Josh Taylor at 140 pounds. What else is tomorrow? This Joseph Adorno card, man, I'm not really interested in that. Ray Robinson's fighting in Philly. Sunday, Lawrence Okolie taking on Michael Cieslak. That weigh-in is tomorrow morning. I may stream that since I'm going to be up. This card, believe it or not, in my opinion, is better on paper than the Josh Taylor card because you got Okolie versus Cieslak. You got Fabio Wortley versus Daniel Martz and Fowler versus this Lukasz Marcy, Dempsey McKean, Campbell Hatton. Already, to me, this is a fight, has more fights I'm interested in than the Josh Taylor card. But, of course, Josh Taylor is the undisputed champion, commands a lot of money. We already checked out the weigh-in for this card right here. When we first started the stream.
Prime time wins coming by way of knockout. Moving up in weight, here is the WBA number 5 ranked featherweight contender, the undefeated Hector Luis El Droide Garcia.
This was supposed to be Roger Gutierrez. Roger Gutierrez got COVID. So he's a step in.
129.5 pounds, 129.5 pounds for Victor Luis El Droide Garcia.
130, we talked about it earlier in the week. 130 is one of those divisions.
Ladies and gentlemen, onto the scale with a record of 16 wins, no losses, 6 wins.
Oh, my bad.
Here's the crafty Southpaw number 1 contender, the undefeated Chris. Prime time Colbert.
See, 130 is one of those divisions that I don't see it being unified, meaning undisputed.
Already 128 and 3/4 pounds for Chris Prime time Colbert.
And where Colbert is right now. Oh, by the way, this is German and Cajas versus a Fernando Martinez. That's going to open up the Showtime portion of the card. German and Cajas, 115-pound champion for the IBF. Fernando Martinez, the rankings haven't been updated yet that I know of, but he's ranked number 11 by the IBF. Juan Francisco Estrada is injured. I forgot what's going on with him. Was it COVID is the reason why he's not fighting next week? Well, anyway, next week, you're going to have Chocolatito Gonzalez taking on Julio Cesar Martinez, who's moving up. That's going to be on the zone. German and Cajas has been, the last couple of years, he lost some momentum in the 115-pound division. I remember when he was over on Top Rank, and when he first won that belt, like he was really, really making waves. Now the division seems to be leaving him behind. For example, Ioka, I would expect that Ioka is probably going to fight whatever's going to happen between Juan Francisco Estrada, Chocolatito Gonzalez, and Julio Cesar Martinez. But, there's 2 fights on this card where we really don't know where the winner is going to go. So say, for example, this fight right here, which is going to open up, as we talked about in Cajas, like, I don't see a unification in play for him, And then for the 130-pound division, I don't see because, okay, here's how it's supposed to go. April the 30th, it is official. Here, I put it down below in the description box, in the show notes. April the 30th on ESPN in Vegas, Oscar Valdez, WBC champion at 130, taking on WBO champion at 130, Shakur Stevenson. Kenichi Ogawa, from my understanding, has ties, his promoter or handlers has ties with Top Rank. Usually the Japanese fighters do. So basically what I'm saying is Chris Colbert, if he wins tomorrow night against Hector Garcia, he'll still likely have to fight Roger Gutierrez. And I don't see him being able to get the Ogawa fight, and I don't know what's going on with that yet. So at 130, I don't see him being able to unify anytime soon. So, you know, they're going to have to do some, you know, gymnastics with him, you know, like kind of like they do like Tank Davis, but not on that same scale of getting him opponents between 130 and 135. Because when you're a champion, remember, you got to fight somebody in the top 15 of your division, of your sanctioning body, or you got to unify. And does any of these names really like call out to you, you know? For crying out loud, is that Billy? No, that's not Billy Dib. That's the other Dib. You know, nothing really calling out. And then you got John O'Carroll, who's probably creeping up on a mandatory, you know, shot. So that's going to be the Showtime card. Also, there's this fight right here. Victor Postol. Hold on. Make sure the volume is not going to mess with you. Gary Antoine Russell. This dude is good. Brother of younger brother of Gary Russell, former WBC 126-pound champion. He's taking on gatekeeper, you know, Victor Postol. Victor Postol is going through some things right now because if he's been living under a rock, Russia and the Ukraine are beefing. And he's got to fight this weekend, so they'll tell him, you know, what's going on with his family and, you know, all that. But this is a solid fight step up for Gary Russell. Because Victor Postol will cause you problems.
140.5 pounds, 140.5 pounds for Victor Postol. And his opponent is making his anticipated Las Vegas debut. The talented southpaw, undefeated at 14 wins, no losses, all 14 wins. Coming by way of knockout, here's Gary Antoine Russell.
It's crazy that Postol only has 3 defeats and only 31 fights.
139.5 pounds, 139.5 pounds for Gary Antoine Russell.
31-3 with 12 KOs. That last fight against Jose Ramirez, a lot of people thought he won, right? The Josh Taylor defeat, Terence Crawford. Lucas Matisse put an end to him. Celsuk Aydin. Hank Lundy, Chop when they were still some names, relevant, Yvonne Mendy. You know, like, dude's been around for a while. But relatively inactive for the most part since 2019. One fight 2019, one fight 2020, no fight in 2021. And right now, as I said, my rankings are not fully up to date, but I don't see.
And there they are, ladies and gentlemen. It's the co-main event of the evening, brought to you by TGB Promotions and Showtime.
I don't see Gary Russell ranked anywhere.
Gary Antoine Russell versus Victor Iceman Postol. Co-main event, WBA Continental Americas Championship is at stake.
So overall, to me, that's the best card of tomorrow, is this, you know, Colbert versus Garcia card. So moving on, Dylan Whyte signs his portion of the contract. You know, I don't know how I feel about Dylan Whyte and Tyson Fury. I mean, yeah, I want to watch it. Yeah, I'm going to cover it. I don't really expect for the card to be that good because, well, you know, Tyson Fury is making what? According to the purse bid, $30-something million. Can somebody break down the numbers for me in the chat? I forgot how, you know, it was what, 42 million bid, 80-20 split. But I don't, you know, I'm not really hyped. You see what I'm saying? This is like, oh, okay. Basically, I look at him as being Dylan Whyte a level, maybe two above Derek Chisora. And well, Derek Chisora got beat up twice. One time, fully left-handed, he disrespected Derek Chisora so bad that in the second fight that they fought, let me pull it up real quick, he beat him left-handed. You know, and I'm talking about beat his face to a pulp, left-handed. Skinny T Street covered that fight. And that's when I was like, you know what, that's it. This guy's the man. And how many years ago was that? 2014, 8 years ago, 7+ years ago. And Dylan Whyte hasn't fought anybody remotely as skilled, even though we hear those rumors about how, you know, he had chinned Tyson Fury in sparring. But that sparring shit, you don't get no stripes, you know, for talking about shit that happened in sparring. You never know what a fighter was going through the night before. If he like, shit, I'm going to spar, but I don't really want to be there. You know, motherfuckers be drunk or God knows what, you know, like you can't really count that shit. But very impressive resume, man, from Anthony Joshua. You know, you can even count Dave Allen, who was undefeated at the time. You know, Derek Chisora, of course, Robert Helenius, that win is aging really, really well. Lucas Brown, the Joseph Parker, and the Robert Helenius, those are some really, 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 you know, like they have aged well. Derek Chisora, the Oscar Rivas one is aging well. Like those are three quality wins. And then he avenged his loss against Alexander Povetkin, but those guys are not Tyson Fury. You see what I'm saying? Those guys are not Tyson Fury. Here, let me show y'all. Let me see. T Street, Fury, Chisora. Yeah, I was chiseled. I was chiseled. But also, I was fucking super sick. This is from November the 29th, 2014. Look at young T Street. Full of life. Skinny. Look at that. High as a kite. Look at that. Crazy how times have changed. I don't even think I had a voice at the time. But, you know, I just don't see how he does it. You know, now I'm interested in if he's going to like partake in promoting the fight. Looking at the heavyweight division, though, let me break it down to you real quick before we move on, because there's really not too much to talk about here, honestly. You know, they're going to be putting the fight on ESPN Plus pay-per-view. It's going to be on, what date is that again? April the 23rd, right? April the 23rd on ESPN Plus pay-per-view here in the States. So basically, it's going to be a midday card. So starting at about 2 p.m. Eastern, on April the 23rd, a Saturday, they're going to be charging us a pay-per-view to watch Tyson Fury. Now, me personally, here in the States, that pay-per-view is going to flop. People don't know who Dylan Whyte is, and Tyson Fury don't have that notoriety yet here in the States. In my opinion, to be selling pay-per-views in the midday that's not prime time, you know, from overseas, you know, because the promotion is going to be going on over there. And let's not just talk about the fact that we have a pay-per-view the week before with Errol Spence and your Dennis Ugas, and then what is it, 2 weeks after that with on the DAZN with Canelo versus Bivol. So right now, between those three pay-per-views in the span of 3 weeks, 3 pay-per-views in the span of 3 weeks, right? Which one are you more likely to pay for? Spence versus Ugas, Tyson Fury versus Dylan Whyte, or Canelo versus Bivol? Out of all of those three, you know, if I had to really, really pick and put them in order, you gotta buy Canelo. But which fight means more to me, Canelo versus Bivol or Spence versus Ugas? I'm intrigued by both of the fights. So I'm gonna say Spence Ugas, Canelo Bivol, and then, you know, if I really, really had to, you know, then it's like, all right, you know, Tyson Fury, Dylan Whyte, I want to see, you know, how I want to see Dylan Whyte get beat up for 12 rounds, you know? No disrespect, but I'm saying, like, I'm really not, you know, the only chance you can really give him is a puncher's chance, you dig? So, yeah, time to move on. Another fight card on Sunday, as we talked about, Lawrence Okolie, who's going to be taking on a guy, I don't know who this man is, Michael Cieslak, if I even saying his name right, you know, but it's look like it's like Michael Cieslak. Polish guy, 21-1 with 15 KOs, watched a little bit of the media workout, you know, nothing that, you know, really, you know, calls me. He fought Makabu and Dorodola. He beat him, you know, but nothing really there. I'm guessing, is he the WBO mandatory? I don't know what the hell's going on. To break down the cruiserweight division real quick, you got Makabu, you know, WBC champion. He fought his mandatory to Bisu Machunu a few weeks back on the Don King pay-per-view. Makabu's been hoping to get a Canelo fight, but it's not happening in 2022, maybe 2023. Urslan Gulamarian, I don't know what's going on with him. Miroslav is supposed to be fighting his IBF mandatory Jai Apatai. Me and Big J talked about that a lot, did a whole individual video on it. Miroslav came down with COVID, so they're looking to reschedule that. And Lawrence Okolie, if he beats Cieslak, he is hoping to get Breedis, but Breedis wants to fight Jake Paul. You know? On the undercard, as I said, you got Ant Fowler taking on Lucas Mercy, Fabio Wortley, Daniel Martz, Dempsey McKee versus a Ariel Bracamonte, Campbell Hatton versus a Joe Ducker. And just off of names alone, I'm more interested in this undercard than the Josh Taylor undercard. You know, because we get to see Campbell Hatton, and with the way he's looking, you know, he can get knocked out by anybody. Fabio Wortley, he's a nice, solid name to be watching in the heavyweight division. And Fowler, okay, all right, you know, CBD, you know, supporter. Gulamarian, yeah, it was something. Who was he supposed to fight? That Rayard Murray guy? I don't remember. Well, anyway, let's move on to the topic of the hour. Canelo Alvarez versus Dimitri Bivol. These intrusive BoxRec ads. Canelo Alvarez versus Dimitri Bivol is set for May the 7th, 2022, likely in the T-Mobile Arena. It's going to be on the DAZN here in the States on pay-per-view. On pay-per-view. I don't really know how I feel about that, because it's like, all right, you pay for Canelo, but see, they shouldn't have went so hard on, you know, pay-per-view is dead, pay-per-view is dead. That's what's rubbing a lot of people the wrong way, because they really were doing like marketing campaigns of like, listen, you know, like they was breaking VCRs and cable boxes with sludge hammers and shit. Y'all remember that? You know, where they had like the glass room and they made Ryan Garcia dress up like in like a, you know, like bodysuit with the glasses on, and they made him go into, you know, with a big ass sledgehammer and start smashing TVs and VCRs and shit. You know, pay-per-view is dead. Pay-per-view is dead. Kind of like PBC with the free boxing for all shit. It's like, yo, whatever happened to that shit? So it's supposed to be, if you have the DAZN subscription, which I've never given them $100 again. And I do admit, for the first 2 years of the DAZN, I was a beta tester. You know, had some friends over there, and I, you know, like I was getting the shit for free. But I'm not no more. You know, and I was never shilling, and I'm not going to shill. I do pay my $20 a month, but they will never get a full flat $100 from me again from that shit they pulled on COVID. And let me tell you what they do. They've unpaused my subscription multiple times and still charge my EBT card, my food stamp card. It wasn't a food stamp card, but yeah, they still charge my card. It's like, bro, like y'all thirsty as shit. Because remember what they did during COVID? They were still charging people and giving people a hassle to end their subscriptions, but it wasn't no fights. Like, and they just acting like it wasn't going on. Like, there was some bullshit. So Canelo versus Bivol is supposed to be $60 if you're a subscriber, but if you're not a subscriber, $80. Now, Canelo fights have been on pay-per-view when he's fought on the zone. For example, Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo versus Callum Smith were both on pay-per-view if you didn't have a subscription. So you were able to watch Canelo fights through the zone on your cable box, at least I know here, for Verizon Fios, the Dish, DirecTV, and Xfinity Comcast. You know, if you didn't have a DAZN subscription, you were paying, you know, for pay-per-view. Over in the UK, they're going to be getting it through their regular DAZN subscription. Now, understand the, how can I say, the landscape of boxing on social media, and especially on YouTube, is a real toxic place. You know, it's like, how can I say, there's a lot of motives and shit, you know, and alliances. And when you watch other people's content, you know exactly what I'm talking about. To where there's two sides. That's like if you're either with PBC or you're against it. Now, me personally, I've been lobbying for Canelo versus Charlo for years. And I was real pissed off when they did the whole franchise bullshit to Jamal, you know, and he wasn't able to get his shot because he was mandatory. And then, you know, he was made franchise champion. Now, if he were to fight Canelo, it was supposed to be a 2-fight deal. Him fight Canelo. Charlo versus Canelo, and then the winner of Charlo versus Canelo, if it's Canelo, fights David Benavidez, David Lemieux winner. David Benavidez and David Lemieux is still in the works. They can be announced any day now for May or April in Phoenix. Steven Espinoza did an interview earlier with Fight Hub, you know, pretty much confirming, you know, that, and that it was a very lucrative deal. You know, he was saying something that basically it was a better deal than what the DAZN was giving him. And it makes you wonder, why didn't Canelo take the deal? Now, more news has come out that Canelo is in a multi-fight deal with Matchroom, Eddie Hearn, and it's going to be 3 fights. One in the Bivol fight, May the 7th. Golovkin is in September. If Golovkin beats Ryota Murata for the WBA Super and IBF titles, they're still waiting on a new date for that. That was supposed to happen in April, but when was it supposed to happen? It wasn't in April, I forgot. Well, anyway, COVID or whatever and restrictions, you know, stopped the fight from happening. And it's a lot of money in that fight over in Asian territories. So if Golovkin beats Murata, then we're supposed to have Canelo versus Golovkin 3. If Canelo beats Bivol at 175, Canelo would move back down to 168 to defend his undisputed titles against Golovkin, who will be moving up to 168 pounds. And my guess is, if Canelo were to beat Bivol at 175, then move down, beat Golovkin at 168, I believe that third fight in December would be John Ryder in the UK. That's what I believe. Do I feel that Bivol has a chance? Yes, I do. Because when you look at the resume of Canelo, you got Mayweather, who he lost to, Erislandy Lara, who he beat by the skin of his nuts, and that was a young Canelo. And you have Golovkin. Golovkin is a boxer with a very good jab, but Bivol is a technician. I don't see Bivol going out there making stupid mistakes. And see, this has been a detriment to Bivol, you know, and was one of the reasons why I didn't think he was going to get the fight, is because he can be pretty, what some fans would say is boring. So, oh, and by the way, before we move on, Joe Smith and Artur Beterbiev for the WBC, IBF, and WBO, they're going to be fighting in June or so, according to Bob Arum. And that would only mean Canelo could be undisputed in 2 fights at 175. Bivol and fight the winner of that fight. If it is in December, that is an option too. So back to what I was saying. Let me pull up Canelo's resume. Did they put him up yet? Like, Bivol is good. But the thing is, you always want him, when you're watching his fights, you know, like he's missing a third gear. Like, it's like, where's that extra gear, you know? And in the Canelo fight, I think that can help him, his patience. I think that he can provide a more competitive fight than Charlo, even though I wanted the Charlo fight. But I think he can provide a more competitive fight. Because when you look at, you know, Billy Joe Saunders was supposed to be the boxer. He was supposed to be the slick mover. But I can't say Billy Joe Saunders is a better technician than Bivol. Caleb Plant, I'm going to say it again, you know, and I hate to keep saying it like this, but I never had faith in Caleb Plant. I never had faith in him. You know, I watched his rise and I was like, this shit's all smoke and mirrors. You know, like you know, Caleb Truax and Vincent Fegan boots. That shit was all smoke and mirrors to me. Colin Smith, he just was completely neutralized, but I don't see Colin Smith having the tools that the tools and the technical ability that Bivol has. Well, Sergey Kovalev is a no good woman beating drunk, so let's just move on to him. From him, he moved up the cruiserweight. Danny Jacobs, very, very good fight, but he can be considered somewhat of a brawler boxer, but not a better technician than Dimitri Bivol. Rocky Fielding, this was Canelo testing the waters at 168. The Golovkin fights. Chavez Jr., he just was there to make weight, and, you know, that was it. Liam Smith, when, you know, Canelo was saying he couldn't fight Golovkin because he was too, you know, small, but then moved all the way up to 164.5 to take on Chavez Jr. Amir Khan, well, Amir Khan had no business fighting Canelo in the first place. You know, Miguel Cotto, pretty long in the tooth, but Miguel Cotto's run, anything above 147 to me, I was never really into Miguel Cotto. You know, I know there's going to be some slander and people are going to get pissed off. But when you look at it, the only real technician that he's got to win over that's somewhere on the level of a Bivol, to me, in my opinion, is Lara. And that's what I think can happen. I think that Dimitri Bivol can win on points against Canelo. Now, we do need to know some details, though, because they like to try to keep this shit a secret. Is there going to be a rehydration clause? Is there some type of catchweight? Because remember, at one point in time, Bivol said he was willing to go down to 168 to fight Canelo. Fighters don't forget shit like that. You know, so is it going to be at 170? You know, I don't think we have all the details yet. I really want this fight to be fully at 175 pounds. I hope there's no rehydration clauses, none of that bullshit. I hope not, man. I hope not. Let's see, article from Copinger. Let me zoom in a little bit, see if there's any details I missed.
How dare you?
How dare you? What up? I don't know how to pronounce your name, bro. I always forget how to pronounce it. I hate the GGG fight. Canelo erases the first two fights with a savage KO. And that's all people remember is Marquez Pacquiao 4 all over again. Listen, man, let's see how Golovkin looks against Murata first. Because I don't know, man. Golovkin seemed like he'd been 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And yeah, he's going to be 40 this year, right? Let me check real quick how old Golovkin's going to be. I think he's going to be 40 this year. 40 in April. April the 8th, Golovkin's going to be 40. Now, even though 40 is not as old as it used to be, but against Sergey Derevyanchenko, yo, it's like, listen, a lot of people may think that he lost that fight. But yeah, according to here, let me pull his tweet up real quick. According to ESPN's Mike Copinger, Canelo's supposed to be making, you know, $160 million this year from Matchroom and DAZN for a 3-fight deal. Where is it at? Sources: Canelo Alvarez manager trainer Reynoso are also planning a 3rd fight with Matchroom that will take place in December. The 3-fight plan with DAZN is worth $160 million. Jeez. Jeez. The other package was presented to Alvarez came from PBC. Al Heyman offered Alvarez a 1-fight deal worth upward of $45 million for the May 7th defense of his undisputed super middleweight championships against Jamal Charlo. Another PBC offer extended to Alvarez, 31, was 2 fights and more than 100 million for a May fight with Charlo and a September fight with David Benavidez. Maybe that's why Eddie Hearn hasn't been able to win these purse bids. You know, he's been saving that money up for Canelo. Shit. So that's my take on it. I'm going to get up out of here because I got a busy day with boxing tomorrow. And also, I got to go check on my crock pot chicken noodle soup and walk my dog. Take a time out, like the video, subscribe. I am going to be here tomorrow morning, and the main event... Let me put this link up to this card I'm watching. The main event for this Kamad Islam versus whoever this guy is he's fighting. That main event is, they're in the ring right now. Here is the card that I'm watching for those who want to watch some boxing. This is live. Yeah, I'm watching this now. Yeah, I'm going to watch that now. Here's the link to that. If anybody wants to watch some boxing after I bounce. Take your time out, like the video, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I will be seeing you guys tomorrow as I'm going to be covering a shitload of fights.